Good morning. Welcome to Coffee Talk Live. This is the show where my guests and I explore what it means to live a sustainable, healthy life as moms for ourselves in the home and in the community. I'm your host, Connie Pastorius, the woman in charge here at Strong as a Mother, Happy and Healthy Living. And I'm also the owner of Pastorius Fitness, which is online coaching for moms who are ready to get stronger, gain energy, and live their best life ever. So today we're talking about Lagree Megaformer in-person workouts again, and why it's so important to choose the right one with a mom mindset, a mom body. And I'm so excited to talk about today's show. So if you're watching live, do me a favor, press 1 in the comments or say good morning. If you're watching the replay, press 2 or just say replay. Either way, I want to hear your voice in this conversation. So if you have questions, throw them in the chat and we'll get to them during our talk. If you're watching the replay, we'll catch up and we'll still answer your questions. We want to get to know you and support you because as a mom, it takes a village, and I want to be the first to welcome you to yours. So today's guest, I just met her maybe a week ago, not even a week ago, but we clicked immediately as business owners, as fitness enthusiasts, and I am so honored and excited to introduce you to her. She is the owner of Lagree NY and my new friend. So welcome to the show, Lori Beninati. Good morning, Lori.
Good morning, Connie. How are you today?
I'm good. You can tell I've had at least 1 cup of coffee so far.
Me too.
Nice. Welcome, and good morning from Queens too. You live in Astoria as well, yeah?
I live in Maspet, so not too far. Just about 10 minutes.
Nice.
I was just at the studio, and now I'm back.
Great. Oh, that's awesome. Yeah, out Long Island way, correct?
Not really. Kind of just south.
South. Okay. Well, clearly, even living here for 5 years, I don't know where anything is yet. So,
but kind of.
Yeah. Okay. So, yeah. Good morning. I just became acquainted with you. You have a beautiful studio on the other side of Astoria, over by Ditmars, and I was just so impressed and just felt good after taking a Lagree class that I wanted to talk about how this could be great for moms and why Lagree is so special and so different from other exercise styles. So why don't we start at the beginning, Lori? What got you into fitness and how did you wander your way into owning a Lagree studio in New York?
I've been into fitness probably since I was a child. I was always very active. When I was in high school, I was getting certified to be an aerobics teacher. And then I've just always been into it. I've tried probably every workout under the sun. About 10, 15 years ago, I had to get knee surgery, and I've had about 3 of them. So my running days, my high intensity workouts, they came to a very quick halt. So I couldn't really do that anymore. And to rehab my knee, I was recommended by a PT to do Pilates. So I started with mat Pilates and then Pilates on the reformer just to strengthen all the muscles that support my knee. And I really liked it. But then I just needed something that gave me a little bit more intensity, that got my heart rate up, that made me break a sweat. And a friend of mine told me about this method. So I took a couple classes, and I took a couple classes out in California. And then I had a 2-week unlimited. And after 2 weeks, I felt so many different changes in my body. I felt stronger. I just felt amazing. And she's like, you should open a studio in Queens. And I am an accountant. I was working full-time at A&E Networks. I was like, okay. So I thought it'd be a long shot. This was probably the middle of April of 2017. By Memorial Day, I was signing a contract with Lagree Fitness, and I found a space. It happened so fast.
That's amazing. And you know what? This
Yeah.
is the second time I've heard something started in California. I'm sure like a billion things or everything starts in California. But I remember during my undergrad a million years ago in like 2009,
Mhm.
I went to school for exercise science and all this stuff. So a friend of mine went to California and she tried this class. It was called bar. And
Oh,
he was like, it's like ballet, but it's really intense. It's really cool. It's this new thing. And then not even like a year, 2 years later, they're everywhere. Bar classes are just, or were like dime a dozen at that point. And the same thing happened with Lagree. Like somebody had some brilliant idea over there. And now there's one on the East Coast, thanks to you.
yeah.
So that's amazing.
Oh, you're welcome.
Yeah, thanks. And I have this very funny relationship with Pilates. So again, during my undergrad, I got certified in mat Pilates, which I know is because of the certification is completely different because there's about 50 different pieces of equipment that look like torture devices that Joseph Pilates invented that I didn't learn a single thing on. So I was just like yoga mat. I'm a yoga instructor by I don't know, preference. That's my main thing, yoga and personal training.
Uh-huh.
But Pilates to me, since it gets so mixed up with yoga, because they both often involve mats, people think it's similar, they think it's the same. I get really picky about when exercise gets thrown into yoga classes or when I just take a Pilates class in general because I roll out my mat and my brain's like, oh, we're going to relax now. And then Pilates class starts and then that's like completely thrown out the window. Like, no, lift a little higher, keep breathing, 5 more seconds, 6 more seconds. And so Pilates itself, it has this really intense impression in my mind that it's a very challenging
Mhm.
thing. I think because of how slow and how intense the exercises can be. And I
Mhm.
know I keep saying Pilates, Pilates, and the one thing that I remember that you said was that this is not Pilates. This
Mhm.
Lagree is not Joseph Pilates exercise. But what I did notice was that the time under tension that you brought up and how this can be very intense, but you can also adjust it based on your level of fitness. So, after all saying all that stuff, tell us. I know we don't have like uh, the picture or anything in front of us as a demonstration, but what is the megaformer and how is it different than a reformer or different than what somebody would expect in a Pilates class?
So when Sebastian Lagree came up with this method, he based it off of a Pilates reformer. So the Pilates reformer has a carriage and a platform. The megaformer is similar to it. It kind of looks the same, but it has an extra platform. They both use spring tensions. They both have cables. It's just the way that we use it. So we do a lot of different lunges with the megaformer. We do a lot of different variations with planks. We do a lot of different kicking exercises, which you remember Friday we did those mega donkey kicks. And it's just the way we utilize the machine. We go very slow and controlled, just like Pilates, but we are using our body weight. We're using our spring tension like Pilates. It's just the method is different. It's a different focus. We're bringing your muscles to fatigue. And it's just the way that we sequence things. For example, we'll work the left side of the legs first. Then we'll move on to the right. We'll do center core. We do it in like little blocks. So it's just the method that is different. The machine is similar. And if you put them both side by side, with the exception of that extra platform, they do look the same.
Yeah, the experience of the class was really interesting. I compared it a little bit if anybody's taken a TRX class is
Mm-hmm.
that you're working with your body as part of the equipment. You have to be paying attention to the placement of your body parts and what's bearing the weight versus what's moving. And I
Mm-hmm.
think that that mindfulness, and I don't use that word lightly, but having to be conscious and be present and aware when you're doing every single movement, that really lends well to moms who are, even if they're at, the 6 week postpartum period where their doctor's like, go exercise, you're good, green light. Maybe they are, maybe they aren't, but still, like, whether
Mm-hmm.
they're a new mom or a recent mom starting out exercising again, or if they've had symptoms for a very long time, like Maybe you pee a little whenever you sneeze or whenever you go into like a heavy squat or
Mm-hmm.
something. With this machine, I really loved how slow, meticulous, and intentional all the movements were. And not just that,
Mm-hmm.
but you're also being guided by somebody who is there to say, if you're at fatigue, if you've given all you got, sit back, take a break. Like you're working to whatever your level of fitness is at this point. And
Yes.
I find that really important for moms, for women who aren't 100% healed yet, or just not comfortable in the bodies that they have now, because you have to really be conscious and aware of what your body is doing in any particular move. And you know, for me, when I started running recently after I had my daughter, it was like 3 years ago or something. 3 years ago, she's going to be 3. But I started running again. I was still breastfeeding, and I think about 4 weeks, maybe 5 weeks away from the Brooklyn Half Marathon, I just went for a run like it was any given day. And then I took one step and the bolt of lightning went up from my tailbone up my spine. And I had to the whole way home. Turns out I stress fractured. I had a 2-centimeter stress fracture in my sacrum. And
oh my God.
The doctor said, like, did you fall on your butt, like snowboarding? Were you in a car accident? And I was like, no, I'm breastfeeding. That was it. The calcium from the calcium that I was giving my baby in my breast milk was leaching from my bones. No one told me that this was a thing I had to consider. I mean, I'm a fitness coach, for God's sakes, and I didn't even know this, but I wasn't aware of what was happening in my body until it was too late.
Yeah.
And these kinds of things are what moms experience. And it's not always just immediate, like, all right, you had your baby, this is now what you have to fix. It's not until you go through a little bit of the healing process and then get to know your body a little bit more to understand, like, okay, this isn't what used to happen in my body.
Yeah.
You know, moms that have diastasis, they have like the tearing or overstretching of the abdominal wall and the connective tissue down the center. There's certain exercises that if you pull it up on any kind of YouTube video, you could be possibly making things worse for you, which is why I'm such a huge advocate and a coach specifically for moms, because I don't want them to have this finally point of motivation where they're like, yeah, I'm going to start working out again, or I'm finally comfortable to get into a gym around other people again. And then they do an exercise and then they make it worse and then they fall back. You know, they take a couple steps back and then they're discouraged again. So coming back to the Megaformer and the Lagree method, the fact that you're talking about breathing and you're talking about very small movements and slowing this down allows, I feel, moms to heal and to feel better in a very controlled environment, which I find is very important. Do you agree?
Of course.
Right. So the intensity, let's talk about how the intensity works with this kind of machine, because we're hanging out on this apparatus. There's cables, there's places to put your arms in the front, there's places to put your arms in the back. We're looking forward, we're turning sideways. How do you make a high intensity exercise with low impact on the joints?
So with this workout, we're using your body weight. We're also using springs. The springs will create resistance. The springs will take off resistance. Depending on where the spring actually stretches out to, the amount of resistance you put on there could actually help you or could make it more challenging. So for example, if you're in a lunge and it's a light spring load, you're using mostly your body weight to control that carriage from moving back, from moving forward. We're going so slow, it takes a lot for your heart rate to work to kind of get that carriage to move and to actually be able to perform that lunge. So that's what's making it high intensity. You're not going to feel like you're in a kickboxing class or running, but your heart rate is working probably just as hard. So you might not be drenched in sweat, but that's what creates that high intensity. We get into your type 1 muscle fibers, which are called your slow twitch. They're your fat burning muscles, your endurance muscles. That's what's going to cause it to shake a little bit. but there is no impact on your joints. We're not using heavy weights. We are not slamming onto the floor. It's very graceful, very controlled. So that's why it's low intensity.
That's really cool. It's low impact.
Mm-hmm. Oh, I'm sorry, low impact. Oof, high intensity, low impact. That's how I got into it, because it was safe for my knees.
Right, right. So it's almost like it would be a good graduation from therapy, which is what you did, right?
Yes, we do work with a lot of physical therapists, and we have clients recovering from injuries. We also have clients that are prepping for events like a marathon or triathlon. Yeah, it's amazing for runners. I can actually run a little bit more now that I've been building up all my muscles around my knee. Yay. Snowboarding's been a lot easier. Yeah, it's amazing how you feel after.
Yeah, and I want to talk a little bit more and explain a little more about how you can still do an exercise on this machine that's different than just doing like a body weight lunge. So if you're, let's say, and I'm going to try to say this out loud without actually demonstrating it the best I can, but normally whenever you are just standing with your feet hip distance apart and you step like your right leg back and drop the knee and go into a lunge and then step forward and come all the way back up, for a lot of people that can be painful on their front knee, on their back knee, on their feet. But with the utilization of these springs and this tension, since you are just sliding your foot back, the foot never leaves like contact with the ground. Those springs, they can almost take some of the weight and some of the burden off of your joints and off of your body. So it's almost like you're doing a lunge, but like 50 pounds lighter or 100 pounds lighter, or however much that it's compensating for, right?
Yes. It's supporting you and it's assisting you with that movement.
Yeah. And on the other side of that, it can make it more challenging by changing the position of your body or changing the amount of tension that you're using, or that I love that you've mentioned time under tension, because like the fact that we're starting to integrate actual exercise physiology terms into normal exercise programs, I think that's amazing. And I love empowering people with like actually knowing what's going on in their bodies. But, I mean, you can do one of those lunges, but slowing it way, way, way down in this environment, in this controlled setting, can make it more challenging, but also help with the stabilizing of the joints. Like you were saying with your knee, we're talking about learning how to use our bodies and how to train the muscles around our joints to support and protect, and also, adjust and accommodate for uneven terrain, uneven surfaces. So this is a really excellent way to not just rehab broken bones, broken bodies, but also prehab and set us up for healthier bone density, more confidence whenever we're walking, like tripping and not actually falling, when we're holding our kids, down the road, going into even perimenopause, menopause, where again, hormones are taking over our bodies once again, and a lot more things are out of our control.
Yeah.
So I'm fangirling so much on this.
I'm so glad you liked it.
No, well, here's the thing. There's so many trends and fads that pop up. You said you've taken every class under the sun. I've probably done the same. And some of them are great. Some of them stay a long time. And then some of them are, in hindsight, completely terrible ideas. But every now and then something comes along where I'm like, and this is what happened with the TRX, because again, this was like 2006 when I took a class, and I took it, and it really aligned with how I taught yoga and how you're like being very aware of your body, and you don't have to get into a squat rack or use all this fancy equipment. You just got 2 straps and you just figure out G versus gravity, and you can make it easier. You can make it really hard. I had that same feeling with Lagree when I took the class. I was like, wow, this isn't for ballet dancers and gymnasts. The way that I've felt about like Bikram yoga classes. I've gone into those classes, and it was very, very particular type of people, very slender, very organically flexible
Mm-hmm.
people who like were naturally just like good at that. And I'm like, this is not my people. Like I'm not, I'm not super graceful. I'm not a gymnast by any stretch. But this is something that literally anybody can get on, right?
Yeah.
And that's what I think is really special, especially as we're coming into a phase of, you know, post lockdown where we're starting to go back into the gym in the studio because there's always that little
Mm-hmm.
bit of risk, right? So do you find that when people take your class that masks are inhibiting in any way for them for, you know, breathing? I know that some people don't like the idea of like working out with a mask on. So what has your experience been in the studio with how they feel keeping masks on or if they even need them at all?
Well, right now, under the guidance, they don't need to wear a mask anymore. So you don't have to wear one. And my studio, I'm very fortunate. I have a lot of space. So everybody is 6 feet apart. So they do feel a little bit more comfortable without wearing that mask. And right now, everyone's mandated to be vaccinated. So they have that sense of security too. We had to wear a mask in the beginning, probably for the first 6 months. And I'll be honest, it took a little while to get used to. Like you have to, this workout, you have to be able to breathe. The breathing helps every movement. So with that mask over your face, it wasn't that easy. And some people liked it. Some people just could not. It was just not for them. And some people took a while to get used to. We made it work, but I feel like it is a lot. I find it's a lot better without that mask. You feel like you could really take that beautiful inhale. And when you exhale, you do feel like all that air is going out. It's not getting trapped. So I'm happy that that mask mandate has been lifted. We do have clients that wear their masks and they have no issues with it. They feel just as fine, kind of normal. So it's personal preference.
Yeah, I mean, even whenever my Strong as a Mother group came in, a couple of people wore masks, a couple of people didn't, a couple were
Yeah.
super fit, a couple were beginners. Like we had like one of everything.
Yeah. We make it work.
Yeah, and I loved how spaced out it was, and the difference between that kind of facility, which felt so very clean. I love a clean gym. Even before lockdown, I was so chronic about
Oh, yeah.
getting the sweat drips off of the treadmills and just like everything.
Uh-huh.
Just really appreciating a clean space and environment. The fact that this is 6 feet apart for all the equipment, everything's wiped down between students, and you can only fit so many people. So you're not sardine packing your studio the
No.
way a gym can now.
Mm-hmm.
I've been to, I'm a gym member to a local gym that has two facilities in the area, and one of them, the second that people are allowed back in without their masks, it was like the old times, and it made me laugh.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
It was just, I was like, I'm not ready for this. I need to
Too
protect
much.
myself.
Mm-hmm.
So I think for people who are looking to get back into a studio or into an in-person class, I think this is a really great transition if they eventually want to get back to the gym, or if they just straight up are looking for something that can take care of their bodies the way it is now. And speaking of bodies, what has happened to our bodies over lockdown between just the usual mom stuff of having to pick up our kids from awkward cribs to cleaning up messes constantly off on the floor, and you know all the billion other things that we do, but also unintentionally adopting a sedentary or lifestyle and having sitting more and having spent less time moving around. Muscles that normally were strong have atrophied. Muscles that normally got us running to the train station and up the stairs to catch the train aren't there anymore. And having that kind of workout like yours, where you can just meet the person where they're at, I find very valuable, because I'm really pushing for this movement of letting go of the like hit the ground running when starting a fitness program, because that's how injuries happen. That's how we get worse off. But kind of going into this like kind of grace period of dipping our toes in the water, if I'm going to start piling on metaphors, and just exploring how your body feels
Mm-hmm.
in on that particular day. And that's what I experienced during this class, was that I had to really back off and like tell myself, like, Connie, I know you really want to like go all out and do this workout as best as you can, but I had to run the next day and I can't,
Oh,
like,
yes.
I'm at the point where I don't want to risk anything. So it was still easy for me to not go 100% in. And even you as the teacher was like, if it doesn't, if you're good there, if this is as much as you want to do, step back, take a drink of water, or just work within your range of motion, just keep breathing. And hearing those
Mm-hmm.
reminders is what was really helpful for me. And but also resonated a lot with moms who needed to pay attention to, again, their pelvic floor and their abdominal
Yeah.
muscles and these parts of them that they may not realize how strong or not strong they are at the moment.
Mm-hmm.
And it's a very, I found it a very safe and a very nice way to still enjoy the workout and not feel like, oh man, I wasted money on this class because I didn't give it 100%. Like, no matter what, as long as I just kept moving in that class and kept participating, like, I felt like I got a great workout.
Awesome.
Yeah. So
Yeah, we like to have, we always ask our clients to come in about 15 minutes early for their first time so we could have a conversation with you, ask what's going on. If you just gave birth, we always ask if your doctor recommends that you come back first. That's one of our first questions, how long it's been. So we could just help you with your journey and see where you are and then take it from there. There's only 10 clients at a time in the class, so everybody gets some individual attention. My staff is amazing. They have a lot of certifications, not just the Lagree. We have yoga, we have Pilates, we have personal training. We've had some moms that are teachers, so they're very they're good team.
yeah. And that was another thing I wanted to bring up. And I'm not just advocating, like, I feel like I'm crap talking like every other fitness program. But the difference, I mean, a lot of people are on the Peloton bandwagon. And for people who are, fit, nothing hurts, you can get through it, you can go for it. It works great. But let's say a motivated mom got a Peloton, hopped on a bike, took a class, and realized that, like, even the class that said it was a beginner class felt way too intense. The coach can't talk to them. They can't ask how they're doing, how their body's feeling. You can't really respond in real time with, like, is this normal? Is this supposed to feel like this? And that's where I think the value of having that coach in the room next to you, and you were walking around, you were talking to us, you were asking us, like, individually, how are we doing? And I think that is super valuable for moms to have that support and to feel like that the little looming, like, am I making this worse question put at ease. Because that's a big barrier for moms. We don't want to make this worse than it already, like, everything it's already gone through. So having those coaches and having these very, I don't know, all body, everybody friendly exercise routines, it's super valuable. And I think moms who want to get back into the studio and want to start working out again, they should feel confident and go to something that is safe, and the instructors know what they're doing and can answer questions, or at least guide them to the right people who can.
Yeah.
So for any mom who is listening to this and watching this and is either taking a trip to New York or lives in the New York area, tell us about where your studio is, how we can follow you, how we can find you.
So I'm in Astoria, right by the Ditmars side. I'm on 23rd Avenue, 2 blocks from 31st. You could take the end of the R. I'm sorry, the end of the R. My God, end of the W, right to the end. As soon as you walk down the train stairs, come down 23rd Avenue. We're about 2 blocks away. And you can follow us on Instagram, lagree.ny. We're on Facebook, and you can check out our website, lagreennewyork.com.
Great. I love a studio that's right off the subway. Just
2 blocks right down the street.
Yeah. And you have something for anybody watching, correct?
Yes. So we have an intro special. You get 2 classes for the price of 1. And then I would love to extend a 10% discount off your first package using promo code Strong as a Mother.
Yay. Moms, go check out this studio. It's wonderful. I'm going to get a package myself and get over there once my marathon is done and over and I need something else to do with myself. Happy 4-year anniversary, by the way.
Thank you.
Lori just celebrated surviving 4 years as a small business owner, which is not easy in a normal planet, let alone the last 2 years. So I am so impressed and congratulating her over and over for getting through that and still having an amazing business and an amazing spirit. You clearly are just like you never skipped a beat, and you have such a great energy and a great product for anybody who wants to hang out and have a great workout and a great sense of community. So Lori, thank you so much for joining me today. Cheers to a nice casual morning of coffee and chit chat. If anybody has questions, drop them in the comments or let me know. I can connect you with Lori. Follow her on Facebook, Instagram. Go check out her studio, take a class, let us know how you did it. And until next week, stay strong, stay caffeinated, and I will see you all in the group. Take care, everyone.
Thank you so much. I appreciate it.